Hi, Cindy.
Isn't she wonderful? Just brought me some pizza she made for me.
Well, where's mine?
Yeah. How come you had her muted?
It's not DiGiorno, it's Cindy.
Mr. Wolf, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, I would like to welcome everyone to the May the 18th work session of 2021. It's a little bit after 6:05. We will pledge allegiance to the flag and then start our meeting. I pledge allegiance
to the
to the
flag
flag
of the
of the United States
of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty
and justice
and justice
for
for
all.
all. I would like to have a moment of silence to honor our military, firefighters, sheriff deputies, and the road workers as they serve our community here and abroad. Thank you. Maybe we have a roll call, please.
Trustee McGuire. Trustee Mann.
Present.
Trustee McLaughlin.
Present.
Mr. McGuire has to be out for personal reasons here tonight, so he will not be here. All right, let's talk about old business, the minutes to our meeting. Do anyone have an update on that issue?
We talking about minutes for 2020? Are we talking about the minutes since the beginning of 2021? Or the current meetings that we're doing now? I mean, what aspect, you know what we're talking about here?
Let's talk about the 2020 meetings that we had to have turned in.
I can't talk too freely. That is a legal issue. It appears that the township wants me to reimburse them for taking the lead and having the minutes transcribed. And we'll just state that it was not done by one person, and that in the meeting that I missed, we decided at one meeting I'd look at the minutes, a meeting in June, they were going to divide it up, do the short version. I think Tracy was going to do like January, February. I was going to do February. The month is all divided up in the meeting. Who was going to do what? And even McGuire agreed to that. We're going to go back to word. Let's get them all caught up. This is like in June of last year. I had a health issue. I missed a meeting, and I'll be doggone if a resolution wasn't brought out on the table to do all the meeting word for word, and it passed. But the verbiage in that resolution already stated that was going to be done, and it was going to be financed and paid for by the township. So it's already stated it's going to be paid for. And then later in the year, it was agreed that it needs to be done. And 2 trustees signed the PO and 2 trustees signed the check. But then for some reason, they want me to reimburse the township for, it was $3,600 to have the minutes done. It was like 46 hours of minutes. That is cheap. And then, so in the same meeting, we bring up the resolution of our back pocket to have me reimburse the township for this cash that they paid to do that. But then, wait a minute, we want to use the second resolution, we want to use the minutes that McLaughlin paid for to have transcribed and have so-and-so pay somebody, sit down for 46 hours, listen to the recording, read this verbiage that was done, the transcript, and verify that. Let's see, why are we paying somebody else to do that? We need to do that ourselves or whatever. But anyway, I have a hard time really giving those minutes up until you expect me to pay for them. If you expect me to reimburse you for the $3,500, I have a problem in giving. I gave them, I passed them out. I did it through a thing called Dropbox because it's a monster file. 46 hours of print is a big file, and you have to use another service to send it. So I use Dropbox to send it. Well, the thing with Dropbox is only good for 10 days, 2 weeks or something. Well, it wasn't grabbed in that time frame. They've asked me to do it again, and until they remove me paying that money back, I'm not doing it.
Okay. All right, do you have anything to say about the minutes for 2021?
We need to do a vote and go back and just do an outline of the meeting. That is what everybody else does. An outline of the meeting. I know we were told by the administrator that Clay Township does them half and half, which I went to a meeting, found out they don't. They've never done a long one either. Well, they did one because of a legal issue. But nobody does it word for word. In my opinion, the only reason that we as a group are doing that is so we're not transparent. If we do it word for word, nobody wants to do it. Nobody's going to do it. Nobody's going to take the lead. And as long as we have the resolution out there and the verbiage out there to go word by word, we're not transparent. We ain't going to be transparent. So we need to change that and do what everybody else does and pass a resolution that we do an outline of our meeting minutes.
Okay. All right, we are going to have an executive session here tonight. Maybe we'll pose that if we have some time, if we can talk about that some. We'll see what happens. Not saying we're going to do that right now, but I'm just letting you know that there is an executive session. And we will see if we can kind of have a few minutes to talk about minutes.
It probably depends on Nathaniel's time frame. And every time we change subjects, McGuire brought that up to us. Every time we change subjects, you have to go in and out. Because I asked again to have the employee evaluation of our administrator. And I've asked for that for several years. I asked for it again in the last meeting. And of course, it's not on the agenda to take care of.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, can I say something? I don't think the meeting minutes are a topic that can be discussed in executive session. That's just something that I guess you can ask the attorney, but I don't think that's something that can be discussed in executive session. That's not one of the 7 or 8.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that is right.
Okay, we will ask that question. Is there any other old business that needs to be discussed?
What about the spray class? We don't talk about that in a regular meeting, didn't we? So we have people go attend a spray class and take a test? I guess Steve would know that.
Mr. Wolf, can you talk?
Yes, our 4 employees went and took the test on Monday of last week, and they're waiting on the results now.
Okay, did we pay for yourself, Jim McGuire, and Tony McKee to show up to go, and they didn't, and you guys didn't go? Did we pay for that and get a no attendance?
There's no charge to go take the test. It's only when you go to get your license. So the township's out no money. But I also had payroll to process that day, so I couldn't leave. I can't speak for Mr. McGuire.
So you're saying that there's no cost for the class?
Correct. No, it wasn't a class, it was the test.
So there's no class, you just
For the
went in, oh, okay, no class, you just went in and took the test?
That's what they did, yes.
Okay. And there's no cost to take the test?
No. If they pass, they go and pay their fee to get their license.
So the employees have not paid anything yet, you're telling me?
Correct.
Well, okay, well, I will check into that's, okay, thank you.
Any other old business to discuss?
I'm not sure if you saw them, Rory. There was some bills been going through the office here. Matter of fact, right here in this room, I come in and sign them periodically. And I've seen some bills, excuse me, been going on for a while from Surdick, Dowd, and Turner. We hired that legal outfit for a 90-day basis back when the corona started, and we didn't have Nathaniel. The county told everybody to stay work from home, so we felt we needed legal representation during that time, and we signed a resolution to hire them for 90 days, which ended June 7th. And for some reason, we'll continue to using them, and I'm just looking at the bill, you know, it's thousands of dollars, and it's divided up, how you decide on how it's divided up three ways. I'm just I'm a little bit iffy on this legal bill that we're paying, and I think we need a more detailed topic of subject of talked about or whatever, because I saw, you know, it just, see, the township's residents do not need to be paying for personal matters when the trustees talk to a legal. It needs to be trustee matters, and it really truly needs to be part of the public record. It needs, whatever's discussed needs to have a comment or some kind of written report and become part of public record, because that is public money paying for that service. So I don't know if you've seen that or not, but I think we need to reach out to the legal team there. Number one, maybe we quit using them that much. I know they're doing an employee handbook right now, but it just seems like some of us just freely pick up the phone and talk to them, and it's costing our taxpayers a lot of money.
Okay. Mr. Wolf, can you send the trustees some information on the use of an attorney? We have two, Mr. Peterson and the person that's assisting him, and find out if there's a need for another attorney. Then we need to discuss it with the trustees.
Thank you.
We also have, besides Surdick, Dell, and Turner, we also have Ice Miller. I haven't seen any bills from them yet this year, but that was one of them that was on the list.
Okay, we will include that name in the package and have a discussion with that one also. Anything else as far as old business is concerned? All right, if nothing else there, let's go to new business. Mrs. Edward, you have a supplemental appropriation budget.
You have a question on that?
That just adding $2,000 to that line item.
Yeah, because we had it at 25 in the temporary appropriation. Then when we went to final budget, you suggested we go down to 10,000. When I went to go to do the tax collection and property tax, you have to do, as explained in the resolution, we have to account for the fees, and then we have to account for what we get in. And we didn't have enough money to pay for the fees. But the $10,000 didn't cover the fees. So we have to do that according to the auditors, as money in, money out, and not just subtract it before we take it out. like I have been doing in the years previous to 2020. Because I also did it this way in 2020, but that's where I calculated the money I had in originally for this year, but it got lowered in the budget when we went to the final budget. So now I need to increase it back.
Okay, then we'll take care of that in the next meeting. Any other new business items?
Well, the next line, county approved budget. The resolution there, that incorporates the next line, right, Tracy? The county approved budget, you went over that budget, that's the only thing that really needs changed at this point in time. And then the question is,
No, there's some other things. The county, first of all, the budget hasn't been posted on the website and several other ones because of the fact that everybody hasn't signed that. So I'm thinking that you and Mr. Mann have signed that already. That Mr. McGuire's the only one that hasn't signed it. It's been sitting there for what? We had to have it in by April 1st, so
Yeah.
it's been sitting there since March.
yeah,
And it still hasn't been signed. So if you start saying, well, we don't have any resolutions since March, that's the reason, because the resolutions aren't being signed. They've been sitting in the mailbox. So we need those signed. Secondly, this line is about, as we discussed when we approved the final budget, we discussed that there was going to be a lot of line changes, and you guys agreed. That's okay. We'll go ahead and accept this, and we'll do, as Mr. McGuire said, the 50 other changes we did last year, and I said 5. So we're coming down to the point where we got to make changes because we're running out of funds that were allotted in the line because we didn't make the changes when we accepted the budget. And that's what this line item is about.
Okay.
I wanted everybody to look over the budget and to see if they saw where their money, mostly departments will have been involved. You know, the road, the general, the fire. Those would be the main ones that need to look over that budget and see if they need to increase their line items. And instead of us doing it every meeting, maybe we can get a lump of them done at one meeting instead of doing it every meeting. But if that's the case, we have to do it, then we do it that way, so be it. But we have to do a resolution for you guys to approve, because you guys approved the budget, and now any changes we make, you guys got to approve it by resolution.
okay,
And then at that point, I have to then send it to the county, and they have to accept it, and then your budget is approved, and we go forward like that. So that's also, trying to do them in bulk is easier than having to keep asking the county to update our certificate of investment resources. And it's up to you guys, because they'll do it. I just thought that would save us less hassle if we get them done in bulk. And so that was what I was addressing
Okay.
there. If anybody had any changes, we should try to do so many every meeting, as many as we can. And so we don't have any, I guess, this meeting, but this is the start of when we should start doing them. We're halfway through the year. We need to start getting adjusted, because we don't want to do it come October, November, if we make it that far. Because then we'll be starting on doing a new budget, so
okay.
that's that.
Okay. All right, and looking to the main meeting schedule, we have 2 posting for hiring an administrative assistant and a zoning administrator. Are there any questions on those 2 issues?
I have a question, but Mr. Trustee McLaughlin, you have something I'm saying that is probably addressed to you more than me.
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand you.
I have some questions on the what was said at the last meeting, actually. It was said that there were several, for the zoning administrator, there were several people that applied. Am I correct?
I think it was about, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, about 17 people or something like that.
Well, did trustees look at a list of all those people and come up with, or is that what you guys are gonna do tonight?
There was only one individual, the information that I have, that had the requirements for that job, that turned in those requirements.
But see, I think the trustees need to make that decision on those one. We need to be able to see all the applicants' data, whatever you say, resume, application, whatever they filed. We need to physically have that in front of us, and the three trustees make the decision on who is the one that is eligible, or maybe we think there's 2 or 3 eligible. I just feel that we as a group, since we run this township, need to make that decision. We should be handed a packet with every application, every resume, whatever, and we make that decision.
The only reason I asked is because all those applications are supposed to be filed in the township record. In case you guys
That's
come
true.
back to me and say, hey, did you get those applications? Can I get a copy? I don't have them. I don't get that. So who would they get that information from?
That, in most employers, you keep that file, so 6 months down the road, the guy you hired down the road, several months, whatever, it doesn't pan out, you don't have to repost a job. You can go back through your list, and maybe there's a guy that's still unemployed, or maybe a guy that's still interested. You can go back through that list. That needs to be part of the public record. Who has them? Or did we file 13 of them?
I'm gonna say, Mr. Wolf, do you have those applications?
All resumes will be reviewed by trustees in the executive session.
Thank you.
And all applications for any job are filed with all employee files after the job is filled.
Okay, Mr. Wolf, may I ask you a question? How many 13 applicants are not gonna be employed? So where would you file those ones that aren't employed?
Because you have to maintain them by federal law for a
I
period
didn't
of
say
time
why, I said where would you file them?
with the employee files for that, in a applicant file that's in with, and that's where Adrian's been keeping all of them for the last 5 years. Because you have HIPAA requirements to protect the rights of the employee or the applicant that applied with private information on it, and you cannot release it outside of these walls.
Well, that's why I asked, where they would be filed, so I am the fiscal clerk as well as the township clerk. So I wouldn't know if the trustees came to me, I wouldn't know where to get those files.
Well, they've always been filed with the employee files by Adrian Jones, and that's what we'll continue.
Well,
that
Adrian's gone now, so who will be able to get them for them?
Until you hire an administrative assistant, I have access to, you can get, and I can give you the key if you want it. Doesn't matter.
That's a trustee's decision, but I'm just asking, I want the trustees to be clear that I can't give them that information because I don't have access to them.
We'll get a key made right away. Because I didn't have a key either. Adrian was the only one with a key, Miss Edwards.
Okay, thank you.
Any other new business to discuss?
I'd like to have a word on the Zoom meetings and going back to in-person meetings. Our illustrious governor is allowing that to happen June 2nd. So I'll see why we could not do that 1st of June. If we don't do it with the 1st of June, we got to do it by the 1st of July per Ohio, the Bill 404. Because the ability to have those Zoom meetings runs out in the 1st of July. So either we do it the next meeting, we go person to person, in-person meetings, or we wait another month and then do it, and we have to do it by the 1st of July unless the state changes that House Bill 404 or extends it.
Okay.
We talked about that in the last meeting, you know, about going there. What kind of condition is the the meeting room there in the Calumet Center, Steve? What kind of condition is that room in? Do you know?
We've got all the equipment out of it. We have to sweep it up, and there's no tables and chairs in there. But it's usable.
Okay, so we could do that, or we could go to the gymnasium, use a corner of the gym. I mean, it'll take a while. We never had a big crowd, but it'll take a while for people to get back in the swing of things, coming to the meetings in person. But within the gym or that room, we still have enough room to practice social distancing and still have the in-person meetings and do away with Zoom.
Okay, so you said the date was July 1st. Is gonna be the last day that you can hold, that you can hold, start a public meeting.
Per the way that.
Is that correct?
Yes, the way I understand House Bill 404, the way it is written now, that to be true.
All right, then, do you wanna say that we will start July, whatever our meeting date is? July,
yes, that's,
or not?
we can't make that decision here, in the work session, but we can talk about that in the regular meeting and make a vote and vote that, July 1st, all the meetings in July start being in-person meetings.
The first
we
meeting
vote.
is 6th of July,
Okay.
just so you know.
All right,
Can I say, I have one more, I don't know if this is new business, it's probably old business. But I did receive the disc on my desk. And I'm assuming pretty much it looks like it's the Zoom meeting minutes, but I can't decipher them the way they are. So it's gonna take me a while to figure out what I got there. But I was also wondering, can it be made accessible instead of us having somebody come in? Can it be made accessible so that I could just download them after the meeting? Is there some kind of reason why I couldn't do that?
okay, can you repeat what you just said, Tracy?
Okay, so after the meetings are over, we have a video and an audio that Adrian used to give me after every meeting, maybe a couple days after the meeting. I will put them, save them onto a file, then I will, eventually I will upload them to the website. Well, I received a disc on my desk last week, I think, a flash drive that had a bunch of meetings on it. I'm not sure. I got to decipher which ones are what. I only needed 3 meetings. I didn't have any of the April meetings or the first meeting in May. And now it's time to do this meeting. And I was wondering if I could have the access to download it myself instead of having somebody else do it. So I know what I'm getting when they leave a flash drive on my desk. I'm assuming it was Buckeye because I was told by Steve that some guy was coming in on, I think his name was Aaron from Buckeye, and he would get that information. So I'm assuming that's who did it. Why can't I just get access and download it myself? It shouldn't be anything with a couple of pushes of a button, find the file, download it to a flash drive.
All right, why don't you call Buckeye tomorrow, or if that's convenient, or the next day, and if that is the case, let us know, and then just touch base with a trustee and tell them, that's what you're gonna do, and go ahead and do it.
Okay, so you give me permission to call Buckeye because every time I call him, they said, I have to talk to Steve Wolf. So I should be able to say the trustees allow me to?
Yes.
Okay.
Steve Wolf works at the pleasure of the trustees.
Tracy, I'll also send them an email tonight to let them know that you're calling. Ask for Aaron, if you don't mind.
Okay.
He answers the Zoom stuff. And the reason why they have to check with me is because trustees have asked me to cost contain the Buckeye bills. And the only way you can do that is to know what the entire township's ordering services. So that's why they come to me. That's the only reason why they come to me, is to control the cost. So thank you. I'll send that email as soon as the meeting's over.
All right, thank you, Steve.
Any other new business to discuss? Can I get
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion. Tracy, can you call the roll?
Trustee Mann,
Yes.
trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
All right, we'll see everybody at 7 o'clock. Thank you.
6:34.